Can't see anyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Good to see everybody here tonight. Okay, started the recording. Okay, everybody, welcome to the program. Tonight we have a special program. We brought in Rabbi Shimon Russel all the way live from Israel. Good morning, Rabbi Shimon.
Good morning.
How's your coffee?
It's good. Coffee's great, thank you.
I want to give everybody who's joining, a lot of first-timers, we've been doing this already. This is going to be the 7th program. We're finishing 2 months. And we're trying to gear the programs towards people's questions and needs and what they're asking for. And obviously, love and harmony and shalom bias is probably the hottest topic right now based on the situation. And we decided we're going to go to the top of the chain. And we went across the globe and we reached out to Rabbi Russell. And graciously enough, he offered to join us and give us all the chizuk. Everybody should understand this program is it's a very dynamic program. We're not looking for big speeches and big drushes. We're looking to get to a point. We're looking to ask questions. We're looking to get some clarity and really try to get something tonight. Please, everybody understand tonight, we have so many questions that came in already. We're overloaded. So we're going to try to cover as much as possible. Rabbi Russell, I know you like clarity. I'm going to ask you the best to try to please, I'm going to put the pressure on. We're going to start off with Rabbi Coach Menachem, who's the founder of the program. The program started here in Presidential in Lakewood as a local community chizuk. And in a very short time, the program exploded, and it's basically worldwide right now. And we have huge lineups. And let's start with opening words with Coach Menachem. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rebushe. It's unbelievable. The ear, in the atmosphere, the feeling, wherever you go, all the ruach that you put in. So first of all, shkoyach for that. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Let's Get Real platform. Tonight, the topic is love and harmony at home during turbulent times. Now, since we started, we got many emails that basically were asking for some guidance, clarity on this topic. And again, the spectrum is very big. We've spoken to a lot of people. Many people during these times of COVID, when you push somebody into their house, for many people, things get much better, especially in shalom bayis. They have time for the kids, time for the spouse. We've seen those also. There are those out there who are really enjoying it. However, the spectrum goes very, very far on the other side, which a lot of people are having a hard time. And usually, when you have your regular routine, you can shove stuff under the rug and hope for the best. But when you stuff everybody into the house and say, this is where you're going to be for now, we don't know how long, and there's a lot of stress. It could be financial, it could be the kids, and it could all the stuff can come out from under the rug, and there's nowhere really to run. And this is where a lot of people are asking for guidance and help. So I want to thank the Rabbi Shimon Russel for being with us tonight, and hopefully he'll be able to guide us. Basically, what we're trying to do is take 35 plus years and squeeze it into 1 hour, which we understand we're not going to be able to cover everything, but hopefully we'll get a few tips. And again, we used to live in a world that was called the click, the click world, where whatever you wanted, the click generation, whatever you want, you click it. If you don't need it, you throw it away. If it doesn't work, you get a new one. And I need everything to be the way I want. I need it to be now. If not, it's too painful. I'm not used to having things that I don't like, and I'm not used to sitting with that pain. So we need to leave. And we used to be able to do that. But now we're having a hard time doing that. And a lot of things are coming up. A lot of people are having a hard time, whether men and women, with the kids, the adults, teenagers, whichever way you look at it. So basically, I'm going to give over the mic. We have somebody here with professional, with all the experience for many, many years. And in Mitzvah Hashem, we'll get a little bit of guidance from Rabbi Shimon.
Sure, but before you start, I just want to tell everybody, this week's corporate sponsor, we have Total Plan Concepts. He's a very good friend of mine. I'm sure he doesn't want me to mention his name, so I will. Avi Weiss, my neighbor, my chavrusa for a very long time. He's doing it in honor of his mother-in-law, who just had a first yard side. Her name is Leil Nishmas Gittel Hadas Bas Shraga Faivel Halevi Dudovici. Neshama should have a massive aliyah from this. The schos will be mechazik so many hundreds of people that are coming on tonight. I also want to give a big thank out to all our sponsors who are always behind us, Mrs. Kaufman from Yated, the Matziv. A big shout out to Lakewood News Network, LNN, Lakewood's most viewed status, for being a sponsor. I also want to thank Lakewood Scoop for sponsoring us. And a big thanks to Mrs. Sofer from COL Live for being behind the program tonight. And we're very honored. Rabbi Russell, please open up.
Okay, thank you. Actually, thank you very much. And Coach Menachem, it's very early in the morning for me here, but I'm really happy to be here. And let's have a good time. I hope that this will be to Ellis. I actually listened to the program from 2 weeks ago just to get a sense of what this program is about and how you do it. I was incredibly impressed, which is why I said I'll do it. I listened to the story that Yaakov Solomon began with, the story about his mother, and I'd like to share a story of my own about my mother, because quite honestly, I feel that whatever I have in life, I really gained from my mother. She gave me the foundation of life. And it happens to be my mother's yortzeit tonight. So I'm going to dedicate this for myself, and whatever chizuk comes out of this, the Ili Nishmas, Anya Malka B'Chaim Alev, my mother. So I want to tell you a story. And it was an amazing story. Before I left Lakewood, I was in Lakewood 36 years. And the last 9 years, I had the schus to have my mother, Alei Shalom, live by us. My father had already passed. And we brought my mother to Lakewood, and she lived with us until the end of her life. So she had lived all that, till then she had lived in England, in London, then lived in Gateshead, in Newcastle. And the night before she left, she lived 75 years in England. And the night before I called her up, I know she'd given away all her nechasim, all her furniture, everything she had, basically, she gave it all away the night before she was getting the plane the next day to come to us. And I called her up to be mechazik her. I know she was staying in a small little rented room with nothing there, just herself and a few suitcases. So I called to be mechazik her. And I asked her, I said, Mommy, how you doing? It must be very difficult, giving everything away, a whole life, an entire life of things you own, and your whole life, give it away. And moving to us, I said, how you doing? And my mother was in an amazing mood. She said, Shimon, I've never been so happy. I've never been so happy. I said, what do you mean? She said, Shimon, I gave everything away. I boiled my life down to 4 suitcases. That's all I have left. I've never felt so free. I was so blown away. The truth, I didn't know what to say. She was mechazik me. When I got off the phone, I put the phone down, I started crying. And I was thinking of the godless and the beauty to understand that we let go of things is actually how we get happy. Most of us, it's the other way around. We're busy getting things, and we need things, and we project what we need for our happiness. And the truth is, we really have to let go of what you think and what we think we need to be happy, and focus on what we already have that makes us happy. See, it's all around us. It's all there. If we would only allow ourselves to see it in a time like this, could be the time in our lifetimes, an opportunity where we can really see, this is what makes me happy. Not all the things I thought I needed, whether it was going out to eat or buying or shopping or another piece of furniture or another item. It's really, that's not where happiness is. Where is happiness? What truly, truly brings happiness? So I have no question or suffix in my mind that it's not things, it's not items, it's not objects or possessions, but happiness comes from the embrace of a long-term, meaningful relationship. That's where happiness comes. Halavai, halavai, that we will spend our lives working out how to have the ultimate happiness, which is the embrace of a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The greatest pleasure, the greatest happiness. We work hard so we achieve that relationship. But it's the embrace of a relationship, a long-term relationship, that makes us happy, that brings happiness in our life. And now's the time where we're, most of us, isolated at home with the most important people in our lives, our spouse, our children. This is the time we want to work on those relationships, because that's where true happiness comes from. We can cut out all the other stuff in life that we thought was going to make us happy. This is what's going to make us happy. The embrace of a long-term, meaningful relationship. Of all the drushes I ever gave in Lakewood, I believe, in fact, probably anywhere, the one I like the most, the one I feel made the most impact, certainly the one I got the most feedback about, was one on Shalom Bayis. And the title of this drasha was "Men and Women are Made by Hashem Not to Get Along Naturally." Now, when I first came up with that title, it was a little bit controversial. There were people who weren't so sure about it. Is that, I went to various Rabbanim and Gedolim to discuss it. Can I really say that publicly? That men and women are made by Hashem not to get along naturally. Don't give up. We get along, and we can get along great. But it's not natural. It's not teva. By teva, men and women are made in a way we're not going to get along naturally. And that gift is a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make us work on ourselves, to fulfill why we're here in this world. So we have to work on ourselves to constantly fine-tune and constantly be working on our marriage. There's no end, ever. If anyone's reached the point, I always say there's only two types of people have absolutely perfect Shalom Bayis. They're liars and deniers. Everybody else always has something. There's always something, if you look, to work on. So to me, the isolation, this time of bidud, of isolation, has been an enormous, enormous gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so that we can really look at what's the most important thing in life, the thing that will really bring us happiness, which is the embrace of a long-term, meaningful relationship, and accepting and understanding that everyone has issues to work on. No one's free. We've all got something. And now's the time that we can really work on this. Here's the key. The Chavetz Chaim gives an absolutely beautiful mashal. The mashal is like this. He says there was a carpenter had to make a fine piece of furniture, like a cabinet or a chair or a table, and he had two pieces of wood, and they had to shtim, they had to sit perfectly together to have a nice line on the joint. The problem is one piece had a little bit of a blita, a little bit of wood was sticking out on one side, so it wouldn't sit straight. Zog the Chavetz Chaim, you have two options. You can either draw on the other piece of wood a little hole, mark where the blita, where the piece is sticking out, and make a hole. Make a hole on that side so it fits in, and then the wood will be straight. They'll fit perfectly together. You see, the other option is take some sandpaper and sand off the blita. Sand off the protrusion, the extra bit of wood. Sand it down so that it stims, it goes nice. They fit together. Zog the Chavetz Chaim, this is marriage. We all have blitas. No one doesn't have any blitas. We've all got bits sticking out that hurt, that don't fit, that don't stim. It doesn't work properly. So you have two options. You can make a chisaron in your spouse. You can make a flaw in them so you fit in with all your blitas, with all your problems. You fit in nicely. Or you can recognize you don't fit exactly nicely and sand down yours. Sand it off. This is marriage. We all come back to this world to fix various chesonos. And it's these chesonos that we're here for. If we can take this opportunity, this time, right now, to work on these things and fix these things, that we bring happiness to our lives. This is where happiness comes from. The embrace of a long-term, meaningful relationship. So with that in mind, I just want to mention, I watched the questions, Rabbi Shimon Russel. I must tell you, I watched the questions last time, and I realized every one of these questions that I heard being asked, based on context, without any context of that question could be understood in 10 different ways. I don't know how many people are on Rabbi Shimon, but my guess is if we had 10 psychologists on tonight, each one answering the question, everyone will give a different answer. It's not shaykh.
That's
So
what makes the program dynamic.
Yeah. So I'm asking the island to be mature and realize, I'll do my best how I hear the question. Someone else may hear the question differently. In fact, will hear the question differently, and therefore they would answer it differently. We're going to have a conversation, hopefully, and whatever we get out of it, we get out of it. But to think that the answers I might give would be definitive and absolute and cover all the bases of this question is not shy. It's a little intimidating to even think that's possible. We need hours and hours on each question. So based on that, if that's okay, let's do the questions, but understand we'll do the context that I hear them in, which may not be the way anyone else hears it. Is that fair?
Sounds like a plan.
And if someone wants to ask a question, they hear it differently. So good. So I'll try and address it from their perspective too. But meanwhile, I'm doing it from mine. Is that okay?
Sounds like a plan. Anybody who's comfortable enough to turn on the camera, please turn on your camera.
I'm just getting some water. So whatever you're doing next, I'm just
Come back. I'm really the therapist here tonight, guys. From all my years of experience, seek therapy. Everybody try to turn on your camera, make it dynamic. Questions, you can text me. We have a list of questions. How about, since Rabbi Russell just took a 2-minute break, we take a poll. Who's ready for a live poll? We have a good one. Ready?
Get my water. I'm sorry.
Rabbi Russell, we're going to take a poll while you're gone, okay?
Go ahead.
The poll goes like this. Everybody who answers this question, it's anonymous, so we don't know who said what, so you can be really honest, okay? The first question is a general relationship question. I'm going to launch the poll. I'm going to read it because a lot of people on the phone cannot see it. They can't vote. It goes like this. My relationship overall, 4 choices, is either A, amazing, B, could be better, C, needs help, D, Rabbi Russell, let's see how many customers you have here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's go. Everybody votes. My relationship overall is amazing, can be better, needs help, not good. 5 seconds. Wow. 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 You ready?
There are a few people who didn't vote yet. Wait 1 minute.
I know there's so many people still voting. You can't change your answer. Once you say it's good, you can't go bad. Bad, you can go to good. Rabbi Russell, there's almost 600 people on, by the way.
Wow.
Okay, you ready? Let's share the results. 37% of people said their relationship is amazing, Rabbi Russell. They came just to say hello to you tonight. Another 38% said could be better. They came for the chizuk. 70% want your private email address. And 22%, 8%, I'm sorry, really not good. So obviously we have a tremendous division of people over here tonight. So we're really talking to a lot of crowds at once. I just found this information to be tremendously useful.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm getting tons of questions here on the side. We got a bunch of emails because Coach Menachem sent out an email. I'm going to shoot out the first question that I chose myself, which I think is amazing. It's a loaded question, and I think it's the hardest one to answer. That's why I'm going to shoot. Is that okay with you, Rabbi Russell?
Pleasure. Go for it.
Here we go. My wife and I had struggles over the years and tried therapy with poor to modest results. Our problems continue to seem to have gotten worse by being locked up together for so long. My wife thinks we should try again. Seeing as we haven't had much tzlacha, it's hard for me to believe that it could work. What words of wisdom could you give us here tonight?
Well, that is a powerful question. Okay, and it's a common question that I get from people all the time. Listen, I'm going to try and answer short, brief, to the point. First of all, the research. Research shows that, and all people have to understand this, that overall, about 80% of all people who go for therapy report improvement. Something's better. It was much better and it was worth going. About another 10% report that it was incredible, life-altering, amazing. And then there's about 10% who say nothing much happened. It seems to be that about 10% of people are not going to benefit from it, unfortunately. But 90% will. So whoever's asking this question, I would tell him, go and thank your wife for persevering. Thank her. She hasn't given up. Go and tell her that she never gave up on your relationship. If she really wants it to be better, I would go and thank her. That's the first thing. As far as therapy is concerned, it's trial and error to find a good match. If you don't find right away, try 5-6 sessions. Talk it out with your therapist. If it doesn't work, try another one. But keep trying. Like I said, the statistics are very clear that almost everyone, 90% have benefit, 10% phenomenal, and 80% have tremendous benefit. So it just doesn't make sense not to try anymore. You know, we have to get it out of our heads that like you have to go if you're mentally ill. It's like rubbish. People go to fine tune and to improve their relationships. And it's just the most wonderful thing to do. Everyone benefits. Like I said to this guy, thank your wife. Reasons why therapy may not work. First of all, most people have unrealistic expectations the first time. They just don't know how threatening and painful it is to really look at oneself. And if you're not going to look at yourself and want to change, you're not going to get anything out of therapy. There was a famous psychologist, it was a Talmud of Freud's, his name was Sullivan. He said like this, he said, everyone goes to therapy for two reasons. One is to change, and one is to stay the same. And what he meant, I think was a brilliant insight, is yeah, we want to go and change, but I want to change her. I want to change him. I don't want to change me. I'm fine. You know, we all have a certain level of dignity inside us, an ego that it's very hard to let go of that. So when you go to therapy to change yourself, not to change the other person. What can I do to be a better person? People generally drop out. These people in your question, it sounds like they've been in therapy a number of times. People generally drop out when it gets too painful. And it's, you know, therapy is a serious time and financial commitment, but the benefits is absolutely amazing. Many times people come to me and I discovered that the reason they dropped out from their last therapist was really because it was getting too painful. The issues were being opened up. So, you know, and they couldn't face them. So it's best, go back to your therapist, one of your previous therapists first, and make sure that you've worked through, don't just run away. You've worked through what was going on. Most people I'm aware of, who I work with, who drop out are unaware that really their issues are trauma-based. You know, we're 3 generations from the Holocaust. There's a lot of people still with deep trauma from the Holocaust, whether it was too smothering, you know, there was too much anxiety and smothering and control, or there was a lack of, you know, the connection, the attachments that we need to thrive, because they lost loved ones, so love got shut down, and they don't feel they feel responsibility. They don't feel the love and the attachment. So, you know, for example, these kind of trauma-based issues, they need healing. They don't need guidance or advice. They need healing, and that takes time. So you have to go back and be willing to face that stuff. What you need to do is always find a therapist who is able and willing to challenge you and disagree with you without offending you. Therapists should create an environment that's safe, that feels good and feels comfortable, right? But you know, it's something a person has to be able to get to that place where you can be honest and you can let go. Honestly, let go of your ego so that you can get to the real issues. And I'll make one final point, if that's okay, and then we'll move on. When I work with struggling teens, I learned something really, really meaningful. And then I realized basically applies to everybody, everyone who comes into therapy. This is going to sound a bit strange, but I want to be very open and honest. At the end of the session, when I work with teens, I tell them what my ideal is. You know, your parents are sending you, so they're entitled to know if you came. I'm not going to tell them other information, but they're certainly entitled to know if they're paying that you came. And the other thing, I meet the teens, when I meet them first, I meet them in my waiting room. I don't meet them in the office. So at the end of the session, I tell them, by the way, this isn't my office, this is my waiting room. And they say, so why are we in the office? I said, well, in the waiting room, you get to lie. It's okay if you lie. I have no problem at all. That's fine. You know, when you finish lying and you want to be real, we go into the office. Just let me know when that happens. So many, obviously, get very offended. You know, what do you mean I lie? I don't lie. I don't lie. So I point out, so look, you just lied. There's your first lie. Of course you lie. Everybody lies. What are you talking about? And I try to help them understand. Human beings, we have dignity. And we have an ego, whether we like it or not. And no one can walk in and reveal right away the real issues. Everyone has secrets. And it's exceedingly, exceedingly difficult to get to the real hidden secrets that pain us and embarrass us and shame us about ourselves. And I can tell you from experience, until you get there, you haven't gone to therapy. Everything you do till you reach that place where you can touch into your own shame and embarrassment and your knowledge and self-awareness about your own flaws, till you get there, you're really not in therapy. You're doing pre-therapy. You're moving towards therapy. The therapy actually starts when you reach that place inside you. So I would encourage anyone, go back to therapy, or the person asking this question, go back, but be prepared to go to that place. As hard as it is, find a therapist you feel safe enough with, that you can really reveal the things that shame you most. Because until you reach that, you haven't done therapy. It was a joke. It was pre-therapy. It was helpful if it gets you to therapy. But if that's all you ever do, you were never in therapy. It didn't happen yet. Okay, that's my answer.
Adam.
I just want to intervene for a second. First of all, thank you very much for those tips. What would you say about making any major decisions now? Now that we're in a situation where the spectrum, everybody has their things coming up, to make any drastic decisions or validate what's going on, and let's wait a little bit to see where this all goes.
Okay, well, I mean, any decisions, Rabbi Menachem, there's one decision we can all make at this time. Everyone, when we're under stress and pressure, we tend to notice, or what emerges from us isn't always the finest part of who we are. For most of us, under stress and tension, what gets revealed is the stuff that needs working on. If the decision we're making now is that when this is all over, we're going to get some help, or we're going to work more on our relationship, and we're going to try and work out how not to hurt each other, I think it's a marvelous decision to make. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing if we can see that. I'm not sure about any other major decisions you don't make at a time of stress, but that you do make. And I don't think there's anyone who doesn't see it. I can tell you, my wife and I were locked up for 2 months. We're married over 40 years, and Kanei Nahar, thanks to my wife, we have a marvelous, marvelous relationship, Baruch Hashem. And we noticed, the bleaters I mentioned for the Chavetz Chaim, we noticed some of our bleaters left over after 40 years. We noticed right away, and we made a commitment to each other that we're using this time of isolation to work on our relationship. And it's been a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I can tell you, I thought I had a great marriage. Compared to what I had before, to what we have now, it's night and day. It's night and day. We made a commitment that when we see those bleaters, don't walk away. Don't ignore it. Acknowledge it, even if you can't deal with it right now. But acknowledge it and commit yourself to dealing with it. It's there. It's only going to hurt you. And there's only happiness, incredible happiness on the other side when you work through that stuff.
Thank you.
Rabbi Russell, can you hear me clearly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
This is a hard segment for people to ask questions. I have one person who's asked a question. Obviously, it's not for him. It's a general question. And he's willing to ask, which I'm extremely impressed. Rabbi Daniel, are you ready?
Hi, yeah, so this goes, Rabbi Russell, just like you said before, you'll understand the question probably better than I would. But what is it like at a time like this when it's very easy to have that personalities rubbing against each other and you just want to just say, it's over, we don't need this, and let's figure it's over, that's where your mood and state of mind is. What is it that you could hold on to keep together? And this isn't only as a couple, this is in families and in stressful situations. What would that be?
Okay, so Daniel, I appreciate the question. By the way, please, I don't understand the question better than you. I understand the question differently to you. That's all. We're all going to see something different, and I appreciate what you're saying. It's fine. It's just as relevant as what I saw. But I'll answer you like this. Every single relationship, husband and wife, bli shum yotzei min haklal, there is no exception. We do not get along naturally. We have to work for it. That means we will all find reasons after we get married that this person I'm married to sometimes rubs me the wrong way. I got news for you. That when we realize that, the thing to hang on to is to realize, yeah, and I rub her the wrong way too. It's not just that she rubs me the wrong way, it's both of us. We each do that. That's why you're married. The real reason you're married is not just to provide a kosher environment for Kedusha B'Torah to bring children in the world. The purpose of the marriage is to bring you to Shleimus Adam, is to fix you. We come back with imperfections. So if this time is revealing to you, to any of us, which it should be, certain imperfections we have that we need to smooth out and work on, some bigger, some smaller. What you hang on to is the awareness that that's why it's here. That's why I'm in this world. And this is a gift right now, an amazing gift. Keep a record of it. What you should be looking for is what is there I can do in me? How much change do I need? You know, we all feel, unfortunately, I mean, it's a natural feeling. If only my spouse would, and then we can all fill in the dots, I'd feel so much better. Right? Everyone's got one of those narratives in their brain. If my spouse would just, if they only wouldn't do ... or if they only would do ... I'd be so happy. Why can't you just do this? Like, what's wrong with that? And what doesn't occur to us, and it's fine to ask, by the way, it's fine to ask, but what never occurred to us is perhaps maybe I need to change me so I don't demand or need ... I don't need them to do this, or it's okay if they do that. Maybe the work is on me. I've yet to find someone in a healthy marriage who doesn't have something to work on. What you hang on to is the gift of the vehicle of marriage is there for you to help you grow, to help make you a better, finer person. And the payers, the benefit, the reward of that is the embrace of a meaningful relationship.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so I'm going to ask the next question that we came in from the emails. So this is an interesting one. So it goes like this. I'm Baruch Hashem happily married with 5 kids, and my wife comes from a modest home and dresses that way. And I run a company with many girls, young women under me, and I'm having a huge problem. All I want is my wife to dress like them, so that she is more attractive to me. And when I go out, I should feel good with my wife the way she looks. Every time I bring up the discussion with my wife, she tells me, so you don't like the way I look. Basically, she turns off. And that's the end of it. I know I should be thankful for all I have, but this is an issue that really kills me. Please guide me.
Rabbi Russell,
Whoa.
giving you full force here tonight.
Whoa. Okay, all right. Look, first of all, it's a common, let me validate the guy asking the question before I take him apart. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a common problem. It's a tremendous problem. And I must tell you, people have talked to me about this many, many times, especially when B'nai Torah lived in a yeshiva life for so many years, whether it's yeshiva, Beis Medrash, and Kotel, and eventually leave this for the workplace, somewhat unprepared to work on the sugya of nashim, of women, and being around women so much. It's a bit of it takes a transition to be able to do that well. Not everyone does it smoothly. So first of all, let me just validate that I understand I understand where he's coming from, and appreciate the question. Let's understand this. It is not your wife's job to protect you from women. That's not her job. Even though we say in Chazal, "Schus noshim," right? That's true. But in life, in general, we men need to take responsibility. How we behave and act around women. That's our response. It's not my wife's responsibility if I put myself in an nisoyim for whatever reason, or have to be involved in some sort of business setting, an office, something. It's not my wife's job. That she's the one who's got to come running to protect me from that. The primary responsibility is on me. And forgive me, the way I read the question, this young man is Baruch Hashem, got a nice business running and has many girls and women working under him. Who says he should be running a company directly involved with many girls, young girls and women directly under him? Who says? If a man is in a position where his business demands and it makes sense to hire girls and women working there, so you need separation from closeness with that. We're not tzaddikim, we're men. We have desires. We've got to be separate from that. The first job I would recommend is a practical answer for this person. Well, I'd like to get into the real issues. The practical answer, first job is to put layers of administration between himself and the women he employs, so he has minimal contact with them. You can't expect to be around, attractive young girls and women and not struggle with that. And the excuse of having a business and because of my business, there's no terror, there's no excuse. And it's definitely not his wife's job that she has to somehow tweak herself to compete with all these women so that he can feel so enamored with his wife's looks. It's nourishkeit, it's crazy. It's not fair.
Coach Menachem, you have something to add on this?
No, you're saying very good, but I think logically you're saying good, but is he asking for something very hard from his wife? All he wants is something small in his eyes.
Well, let me get there and let's see. If it's something small, I don't think you'd be writing the question. A small little thing, and that's how you ask your wife. How you ask her. Let's see if we can analyze really quickly the sugya. The fact is, women are made to look attractive. Kadosh Baruch Hu made women that way. Men, we're not that way. We don't care so much. How we look attractive. It's not a man dominant. We want to look presentable. But a woman wants to look attractive. And through that attractiveness, she attracts her husband and they have to build a family together. It's normal. The reality is, as women get older, their looks fade. That's a reality. There's no woman at 50 could possibly look like a woman at 19. I don't care how much makeup and clothing and everything, whatever she does, and a shaitel, she just simply can't look like a 19-year-old. It's not possible. Kadosh Baruch Hu orchestrated it that women's looks fade as they get older. And that's a gift for us. You know why it's a gift? It's a gift for us because what we're meant to be doing is letting go, we men, of the attractiveness of being attracted and connected to the looks, which is like so superficial, and deepen our awareness of the neshama of my wife, of her essence, of who she is, of the goodness, of who she really is. To connect with that part of us, we should be drawn to and attracted to that. And that takes years. We should work at that. That's the relationships. You develop your relationship with your wife to connect to her pneumius, to her neshama, while her looks fade, and those two processes happen together. So you have two neshamas, you have dveikus neshamas. Your neshamas connect with each other, and where the looks, it's not a mandama, because I can tell you this, the power of attractiveness when you're attracted to someone's neshama is so much more intense and powerful than any attractiveness you could have towards looks. So I want to be very clear that the attractive issue, it's not her job and it's not fair to her. Now, if it's true, this young man, he says in his question, he married a girl from a modest home, a sneer-sticky young lady, he should thank her. That's mamish gavaldik. It's a beautiful thing. He's very, very fortunate. What he could do, and I just want to mention this, if his wife, Kanei Nahara, with her busyness in life and having babies, it changes her shape and form, and she's not so attentive, with deep and humble apology, begging mechila from her, maybe he could go and ask her if she could, fine-tune it a little bit. It would be meaningful to him and he'd appreciate it. But here's the caveat. I've never seen a relationship work like that, where someone feels demanded of, that you have to change. You have to change to make me happy is a sick way of life. What he really needs to do is go to his wife and say, look, honey, I would appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me. I'm telling you straight, I love you the way you are. I love you the way you are. It's nothing to do with that. And if you want to stay this way, and this makes you comfortable, then you should, and I'll do the work. This has nothing to do with you.
Wow.
But I'm asking you, if you don't mind, it would help me. And I repeat, it is not your problem. You shouldn't be the one to bear the burden of this. It's me. I put myself in a difficult position. I'm going to work a way out of this. You're perfect the way you are, and I love you the way you are. But if you could fine-tune a little bit, this and that, it would help me. If a man comes to his wife and has a good relationship, and he's worked on his relationship with her, I think a wife could be sensitive to such a thing without feeling attacked or hurt or broken. But a man who chas v'shalom would go to his wife complaining and criticizing her and making her feel chas v'shalom, this is my problem is because of you. Chas v'shalom to ever speak to a woman that way. She doesn't deserve it, and it's not true. I can say one more thing if you want. That's really powerful.
Russell, my chat is exploding. I can't read it as fast as it's coming in.
1 second. Can I continue and say one more
one more?
thing? Is that okay? Okay. So I just want to say one more thing. That this is a little bit devastating. Years ago, many, it's probably 20 years ago, there were two situations where two chashuva people, I don't want to go into details, but overstepped their boundaries in Klal Yisrael with Nashim in the workplace. And I was involved in two cases to try and be matzel, and they both got divorced in the end. It was very unfortunate. At that time, I was asked to give a drasha to Rabbanim who were preparing to go out into Rabbanis, to give a drasha on dealing with to dealing with family life. It was a benign, nice drasha. And I called Rosh Shmuel the night before, and I asked him, maybe I should mention this issue of dealing with Nashim in the workplace. Maybe I should talk about it as well when I give this drasha tomorrow. And Rosh said to me, absolutely, yes. Rosh you should definitely talk about it. So then he said to me, Rosh, what are you going to say? I said, I don't know yet, but I know one thing I'm going to say for sure. He said, yeah, what's that? So I said, well, I'm going to tell the men that it's inevitable that if you're working in the workplace amongst women, sooner or later you're going to find something you didn't want is very uncomfortable, very unpleasant, but you're going to notice some woman somewhere looks attractive to you and you're going to have feelings for her and it's going to be very uncomfortable. He said, yeah, probably. And I said, well, when it happens, the first thing you do is go home and tell your wife. He said, what? You go tell your wife that you saw a woman and you found her attractive? I said, yeah, Vada. I said myself, I happened to be a couple of times in my practice. A woman walked in, I knew who it was, and there she was, an attractive-looking woman. I found it to be attractive. I went and told my wife. It's true, I was humiliated out of my brains. I felt like totally so embarrassed, I can't even tell you. But I went and told my wife, and my wife had rachmanas on me. She said, it must be so hard. What are you going to do? She knew I wasn't looking for it, and she was so happy I came and shared it with her. She said, what? I told your wife you found another lady attractive? Kenny said, he had a reaction I've never seen before in my life. Mamish, never before. He hung up. He said, I don't think you can do this. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Anyway, next morning, right after Shachas, he called me. And he said to me, I discussed it with my Rebbetzin, Reb Shimon. You can't tell your wife, you can't tell people, go tell your wife you found another lady attractive. I said, it's very interesting, Rosh Shiva. I noticed your reaction. So I went and asked my wife, did I do wrong? Was I wrong to tell you? My wife said, no, forget, Adarabba. I understand that. I'm a mature person. I know you're not looking for it. It must be very awkward, very uncomfortable. And what's interesting, the moment I told my wife, it was gone. It was gone. It was gone. It didn't exist anymore. It was gone. I told this to Rosh Shiva. Rosh Shiva said to me, Azai. I said, yes. He said, you know what? You can tell them. You can tell them. So I gave the drasha that night, and I said this over. Till then, they were basically, yeah, listening, nish listening, whatever. The moment I talked to this subject, it was like everyone froze, like in a block of ice. No one moved. It was incredible. And I said this over. And then by the way, I told Rosh Shiva something my wife said that was amazing. And she said to me these words, a husband, who can't go home and tell his wife if it happens because their relationship is not healthy enough for it, has no business being involved with women in the workplace. He shouldn't be doing it. If you can't go and tell your wife, you shouldn't be working with women because sooner or later it's going to happen. It's not right. And Rosh Shiva thought that was brilliant. So did I, by the way. And it's helped me. So I told this over to these Rabbanim. And I'm telling you, this is many years ago. Over the years, I bump into some of these people. I've said it ever since. And some of them told me they decided not to go into Rabbanos or not to talk to women or their therapists who do not see women. Because if you don't have that relationship, then you shouldn't be involved with women, because it's not a matter, it might happen, it will happen. And we have to be mature and honest about it. But when you work on your relationship the way we've been talking so far, where your wife understands, I'm not looking for this, chas v'shalom. Chas v'shalom. What I'm looking for is a fabulous relationship with you, where I can share it with you and tell you. And when a wife, like my wife said to me, I feel so bad for you, it must be so awkward. Like, how are you going to handle it? That itself took it away. Mayim genuvim yimtoko, it was gone. Okay, you're saying it's exploding. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yes. I just told everybody, stop texting me. I have too many questions already. Okay, we have a live question. You ready?
Okay, sure.
May, are you on?
I'm on. Do you hear me?
Yes, please, ask away.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Rabbi Russell, for taking your time to do this for the Olam.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Now to the question. I'm a very thought-out person. I like to discuss things and have deep conversations about different things. That's how I connect with people. My spouse, on the other hand, she 16 seconds on one topic and then she's gone. I pretty much gave up on feeling connected to her. Where do I start?
Okay, all right. Let me see if I can take this from the top. You're a thought-out person, and yet somehow when you were dating, when you were in shidduchim, when you were talking with her, then it didn't happen, then she was focused. So my first question would always be, what happened? Did something change? Were you not so, or perhaps you were more tuned in and more sensitive when you were dating, and then life happened and you became less sensitive? Like, I'd like to understand, was she always this way or was she not this way? But let's assume she is. Let's assume that she doesn't, conceptually. Let me describe the problem and then perhaps I can describe a solution. Women are made, I'm taking this question that your wife can't stay focused or whatever. Women are made to multitask. When it says in Chazal, women noshim dat and kalas, chas v'shalom doesn't mean stupid. It means light. They have a light das. Their das is made so they multitask. That means they can flit from thing to thing. They can do 5 different dishes for Shabbos at the same time. Men cook. We cook the chicken. We put everything away. And then we cook the kugel. We put everything away. And then we make the broccoli. We don't do everything at the same time. We have kvedis das, a heavy das. We do one thing at a time. A woman is made to multitask. So she's always doing different things, different dishes, watching the babies, nursing this one, keeping an eye on the toddler, answering the phone, the door. She's made to multitask. So she has a lighter das to begin with. And yes, the women move from issue to issue. Men, we're made with a heavy das, ideally so we can think deeply and stay focused. If you're approaching your wife expecting her to process life the way you as a man process life, it's quite likely that she's not able or willing to do it because she doesn't have kvedas das. She doesn't have time or energy with her heavy das to think something through. Nevertheless, women generally enjoy talking about their feelings. I wonder what would happen if you had a heavy, thoughtful conversation about her feelings, focusing on how she feels, tuning into her, and you could connect to her through her feelings. Or does it have to be that you connect through your like intellectual sparring? If intellectual sparring, if that's what you're looking for, find a chavrusa and connect with him on that. With your wife, you have to tune into what she needs. Like, have you gone to her? Forgive me, I don't know the context here, but is it, again, forgive me, please, but is it that you like having very deep conversations about things that matter to you? Have you actually gone to her and tried to have meaningful, deep conversations on issues and subjects that matter to her, that she's interested in? And when you do have these conversations, are you very eager to listen to her point of view? Do you embrace it and try to understand it? Or are you trying to get her to feel what you feel, to connect with how you feel, to understand what you're thinking? Because if so, there's going to be a disconnect. I can tell you, Chazal, very wise. If you're feeling this way, chances are she's feeling this way too. And it's very likely she's just as frustrated and would love to have more meaningful conversations. But have you put the effort and energy into listening deeply to how she feels and validating, not trying to get her into your conversation, but putting the effort and energy into getting into her conversation, into how she feels about life, into what's important to her. Most women, when you tune into their feelings and their view of life and their perspective on life and the way they love to talk over and over again the same issue and speak it out again and again and again, if that, you could have a beautiful connection there if you're willing to put your ego aside, forgive me, in order to really connect with her. And I want to make one other point. I read between the lines. I want to go off on a tangent, but imagine if she had ADD. Imagine if she has adult ADD. According to the way you asked the question, I think you said 16 seconds, and then she's running already, right? Imagine if she actually has...
Better than me. I can do about 5.
Yeah, no, imagine if she actually has ADD, right? And she's running away. Have you gone to her with deep, profound compassion? Or just with frustration, she's always running away? No one I've ever met who has ADD is happy about it. No one I've ever met who has ADD is proud of it. On the contrary, you need to go to your wife and say, honey, I feel so terrible. It must be so hard for you. Have you tuned in deeply to how difficult it may be, technically, for her to stay focused? Because perhaps that tuning in might create the connection that you're really looking for by you having deep, 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 heartfelt compassion for her. And as far as on a practical issue, timing. A lot of people, we decide, now I want to have this conversation. Now I want to talk. This is important to me now. What about her? Is this a good time for her to have this conversation? Is she looking to connect with you right now? Maybe you go to her and you tell her that, I would really like to have this conversation right now. And if I can, when is a good time? When can we talk? Because I would love to have that conversation with you. Just tell me when is a good time for us to talk. Okay, there's my answer. I hope that was helpful.
Coach Menachem.
Well, Russell said everything, almost everything. I just have one question. The question is, just a second. At the end of the day, he does not get his needs met. That's how he feels. Saying there are good ideas how he can relate to her, but he feels his needs are not getting met.
So I think that's what I said. He can go and connect with her, and he should try and connect with her. Of course, he shouldn't be running away from her, but he can get his needs met and connect with her by tuning into what's meaningful to her. If he's looking for connection. If that's the real goal is connection, then he can find many ways to connect with her, all through the vehicle of looking at what matters to her. But if he wants connection dafka through his deep, heavy conversations with her, that may not work for her. So he needs to find something else, another way to connect with her. And if he needs those kind of very heavy, focused conversations, he can find a chavrusa or a friend and do it with them. Who says it has to be with her?
Okay.
I have a bunch of people that want to ask a live question, which I'm actually shocked. I didn't expect anybody to be able to ask a live question, but people are asking. I'm impressed. I got one question. It's going to take this a little bit to a different angle. Is that okay?
Sure.
Get a little bit more ruchnistic with you.
Okay.
It's a multiple questions, but it's really one thing. It's going hashkafik. Is love a Jewish thing? Where do we find it? Since when does love come from Jewish families? And is there any, and if there is no love, how do we find it? Thinking of love, what is it? Can you help me define it so I know what to look for?
Whoa.
Good night, everybody.
I think this is the question. This is the underlying question, truthfully, behind all of it. Of course, love is a Jewish thing. We have to separate ourselves from secular views of love. I remember there was a tape. Rabbi Victor Miller had this marvelous tape. I forget which number it was. And on the tape, he says, tonight I'm going to talk about the most talked about subject in the whole world. And this subject more books have been written about than anything else, and it doesn't exist. And he said, the subject is love. And by that he said romantic love. And he made a division between romantic love that sold, that sells books and movies and who knows what else, and true love. And it was a beautiful tape. I love the question. Whoever asked this question, gewaldig. This is the question. If we spend the rest of the night talking about this will be amazing.
That's why I saved it for myself. I wanted to ask it.
No, it's such a good question. Listen carefully. I'm going to define love. I'm going to say it twice. For anyone who wants to write it down, please write it down, because we're going to talk about this. This is so meaningful. I'll say it once, and then I will repeat it to make sure everyone can write it down. Love is the emotion, experience, or feeling that occurs when, on a consistent basis, husband and wife are able to put the other's needs before their own needs, when the two sets of needs are in conflict. Let me repeat it. To marital love between husband and wife. Love is the emotion, experience, or feeling that occurs when husband and wife are able to put their spouse's needs before their own needs, when their two sets of needs are in conflict. That's when love happens. Love does not happen when everything is just like moving along and everything is going nice and everything is going fine and we're both agreeing with each other. That's nice, but that's actually not where you create love. That's not where love emerges from. That's not where the feeling of love happens. Love happens when naturally and inevitably husband and wife realize we have two different sets of needs right now, and they contradict with each other. And I'm going to go out of my way to try and meet your needs. I want to give you a marshal. I'll tell you how it happens. This is the one I give most, and I think it's the classic marshal. It's a long Shabbos, sticky, after isolation is over, after COVID is over, we're back to life, back to normal in Mitzvah Hashem. And people are, a wife is stuck home with all the children the whole long Shabbos afternoon. There's no Eruv in her neighborhood. She can't get out. And Motzi Shabbos, she says to her husband, can we go out? I'd love to go. I just need to get out. I need to just clean my head and get out. Can we go out and get some pizza or something? And he says to her, yeah, it'd be great. Let's go out. But, if we're going out, let's go out and get a meal. Let's go out, Flagships. If we're going out already, we may as well have a real meal. And she says to him, look, it's after Shabbos. I can't really eat. I just want to go out and have some pizza, something light. Just want to get out with you. And he said, yeah, no, I get that. But, we don't go out too often. So if we're going out, let's go for Flagships. What are we messing around with pizza for? And so you understand. And so they have by the end of it, she says, don't bother, fine. I don't want to eat. Fine, I'll sit with you while you eat. Oh, fine, you're not going to eat. Fine, so we'll go get pizza. Listen, I know you don't want pizza. Forget it. Let's just go another time. And she goes to bed. Let's play this story out the way you create love. By this simple little tiny conflict, instead of being a hurtful one, where Lemai said the first scenario, whether they go out for Flagships or they go out for pizza, they're not having a great time. One of them is feeling resentful. The other one's picking it up and they don't have a good time. Let's play the story out in a way that you really create love. Wife says to the husband, I'd like to go out. We're cooped up in the house. Can we go out for pizza? And he totally, legitimately, normally, healthfully says to her, great idea, I'd love to go out. But if you don't mind, I prefer to go for Flagships. And she says, I'm full from Shabbos. I really can't eat Flagships. I'd like to go for pizza. To which he says to her, honey, no problem, my pleasure. My pleasure, we'll go for pizza. And of course, she tunes in and says, you really don't want pizza. Let's go Flagships, it's fine. We'll go for Flagships. He says, no, chas v'shalom. No, you came up with it. You want pizza? We'll go for pizza. She says, no, I know, man, you like to eat. I just want to spend time with you. Let's go out. We'll go for Flagships. He said, no, chas v'shalom. I would never. It was your idea. You invented it. And they have a beautiful fight where she's fighting to go for Flagships and he's fighting with her to go for pizza. And it doesn't matter what they do now because the food wasn't relevant in the first place. Because whether they go for pizza or they go for Flagships, they have a loving time together. because they feel tuned in for. People think that you have to mavati yourself, you have to give up of yourself to create a shalom bayis, to create a beautiful relationship, keep giving up, giving. Well, that's true, but only if it's based on you being honest about who you are too. The key is to go to your spouse, and yes, it's when we disagree with each other, when I have certain needs that seem right now to contradict with your needs, that I'm willing to tell you, yeah, these are my needs, this is what I like. I want you to know me. But you know what? Even though these are my needs, I have a bigger need, and that's to give to you. That's to do for you. So I'd like to do it your way. And when you do it that way, sensitively and kindly, you discover that your spouse, on the contrary, it frees them to want to do for you. So we end up having lots of fights and always fighting. And the fight is always about, I want to care for you. And they say, no, I want to do it your way. And that builds love. Love is built. It's the emotion, experience, or feeling that occurs when on a consistent basis. Husband and wife are trying to put the other's needs before their own needs when the two sets of needs are in conflict. That's when you build love. And if you spend your life, you don't have to be a lemela. People think, oh, I have to be a shmatter. I have to always do what she wants. I have to always do what he wants. You're missing the point. You have to be authentic. You have to start off by expressing honestly and openly, this is who I am. This is what I would like. Adarabba, the wife may say, okay, no problem. I didn't know. I'm glad you told me. I'm happy to do what you need. You like the chicken this way. You like the fish that way. You like us to start the meal this time or that time. I'm happy to hear that. And I'm happy to tell to you. But you should always do it with one simple caveat. This is what I would like. This is what talks to me. This is what feels good to me. But you know what? I'm more than happy to meet your needs. Actually, I'm happier doing it your way. I'm much happier. And when a person lives life like that, what you discover is that my greatest need in life is to try and tune into what you need. This is better than what the Rambam says. That's the mitzvah. The Rambam, whatever you want for yourself, want for your wife. So if I want my needs to be met, I have to want your needs to be met for you. That's love. That's what love is, and that's how you generate love. It's dafka when you're different to each other that you generate love, not when everything is going along parav and fine. That's not when love is created. Okay, there's a quick answer.
Wow. I don't think there should be any more questions after that. I think you pretty much answered every question. By the way, Rabbi Russell, as you were saying that, well, half the questions that were being asked, most of them got answered with that question, by the way.
Really? Okay, listen, whatever you're going to bring someone, I'm getting some more water right over here. And then, I'm sorry, I'm very close.
Let's take another poll. Here we go. Everybody, while Rabbi Russell's away, remember, this is all anonymous. Let's see real answers. Let's get real, Menachem. This is as real as it gets. We might have to move out of liquid. Okay, during the turbulent times of my relationship, here we go. During COVID, these turbulent times in my relationships, did my relationship with my spouse, A, get better, B, stayed the same, C, got worse, or D, deteriorating rapidly? Robert Russell, you see the question?
I think we are sitting with the most amazing, wonderful group of people.
Unbelievable.
Mamish got better. Half the people here go, this is the way it's meant to be. You're meant to take, this is just amazing. This is mind-blowing. Half the people.
You know what the show is called, Robert Russell, right?
Get real, right?
Let's get real.
Can I make a comment? Is that okay? I'm still on?
Let's show the poll. All right?
Go ahead.
Robert Russell, you ready?
Well, I don't see it again. It's gone.
The question is, during
the poll. Where's the poll? I don't see it. You can tell me.
Show the results. You ready?
Yeah.
During COVID, did the people's relationship got better, stayed the same, got worse, or deteriorated? 52% of people said the relationship got better.
You have
percent said to stay the same. It's crazy. 8% said got worse. 4% said.
It's mind-boggling. You have the most amazing people tuning into this program. Kol hakavod, we have a group here. These are the successful people of life. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. Mamish amazing. I'm so impressed. I'm mamish misragish. It's great. I want to tell you something. It says in the beginning of Mesilas Yesharim, the Metzias HaAdam, why are we in this world? Why are we here? Why did we come back? Why is Anasham in this world? So he says 3 reasons. And 2 of them we know very well. And the 3rd one, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's like in the whole chinuch system, we somehow failed to bring this up. And people don't realize. When it says like this, there's 3 reasons. One is la'asos mitzvahs, do mitzvahs. One is la'avoid, avoida, which some means avoid Hashem, tefillas and davening. And the last one is lamud b'nisayon, to be able to handle nisyonis. It's through nisyonis, through nisyonis, through struggles in life. That's how we grow. Listen to this. It's in the context of a close relationship that we get the opportunity to best know ourselves. The more intimate the relationship, the greater is the opportunity to know the truth about yourself. All you have to do is watch your spouse's face. Listen to their tone of voice. Watch their body language. You see, you can say whatever you want to say, but what we always believe is the facial expression, the tone of voice, and the body language. They tell you everything. So the greatest opportunity you have in life is being locked up at home with your spouse, doing that Chavetz Chaim shifshuv, rubbing off those bleaters. And it's the greatest opportunity to get to know yourself, to know who you are, simply by observing the reflection in your spouse as they reflect back to you their experience of who you are. When a person goes on the journey and chooses to tune into that, to really be honest and realize, okay, if I want to know myself, all I have to do is watch my spouse and see how they react to me. That's the more intimate the relationship, the greater the opportunity to know who you are. Right now, we're stuck at home in this isolation. It's like the greatest opportunity we've ever had in our lives to get to know ourselves. And if we would only embrace that, jot down a few notes. It's not very, it can hurt. Rabbi say it can hurt. It's meant to hurt. But what are we here in this world for? The 30 Lamed b'Nisayon. This is the greatest opportunity. This Nisayon now has brought us to face ourselves. And if we would only take advantage of it, this group here, unbelievable. The most of the people here are doing, I think you're doing what I'm describing naturally. It's absolutely, I must tell you, it is so incredibly heartwarming. I tell you something, it will be a chaval in a way, from this perspective. I know my wife and I here in Israel, they're letting go of isolation. And on Shabbos, people are going back to life now. And on Shabbos, my wife and I, we've been alone for months now, the 2 of us. And on Shabbos, my wife said to me, and I said, I know exactly what you're feeling. And she smiled. I said, we're feeling, chaval, it's going to be over soon. It's been such an amazing opportunity. Okay, we missed, the grandchildren, the children, all the rest of it. But chaval, for the kinyonim we've been making during this time, we should all be looking at it that way, with excitement and pleasure. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave this to us so we could work on this.
I want to ask the question that I think the question that 10% that are sitting there that are in pain, and basically, first of all, we have to validate their feelings, which they're having a very hard time. Basically, the question is, the negativity has built up, and they can't even discuss it with their spouse. And one of them is very, very busy. What's going on? Trying to keep the whole house going with the kids and whatever it is. And the other spouse is just checked out, not involved. There's no one to talk to. And they're sitting there. I guess they're behind the cameras and they're embarrassed. But they don't know what to do. What should they do?
We got about, I would say, 30 plus questions of one spouse is checked out during COVID or in general checked out. How does somebody deal with it? Checked out?
No. So right now is not the time to deal with it. Right now is the time to be with it. Change the word deal to the word be. B-E. Just close your eyes and look deeply inside and ask myself, can I be with this matzav right now? Not deal with it. You'll deal with it afterwards. And acknowledge and make a commitment that when this is over, I'm going to deal with this then. We're going to go to a therapist. We're going to acknowledge that something was a little off and it needs help. And I want to help that. I want to improve it. We've learned something so valuable through this experience. But sometimes in life, we have to recognize you can't deal, fix, change right now. Sometimes we have to learn how to be with a problem. Accept it for what it is. Not judge it, not get threatened by it, not get angry about it, but acknowledge it's there and be grateful that we've noticed it, because it's probably been there hurting the relationship until now. I doubt that anyone who said that, everything was perfect until COVID-19, and then COVID-19 happened, and suddenly they discovered this problem. I don't believe that happened by anyone. Totally don't believe it. What's happened is it's come out. It's been very niskala, and that's great. It's been exposed. So the job is right now, learn to be with it, breathe deeply, be grateful to Hashem. You're now aware of what needs dealing with, and make a commitment that when this is over, you will go together and seek help to work on this so that you can come closer together.
Okay. Rabbi Russell, I know you probably have sessions lined up. Did you daven Shachris yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Rabbi Russell, right now we're on extra time. So just give me the wink and we shut it down.
Okay, I got another 10 minutes. So 10 if minutes. Anyone wants to ask,
I have about
another 10 minutes.
I'm going to we'll do 2 live questions. So we got to end it after that. Then closing statements, and we're done. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, where is he? Shlomo Weber, you ready? Why can I unmute him? Oh, here it is. Go, Shlomo.
Yes, okay. Hi. Thank you, Rabbi Russell, first of all, for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
We say every day by davening, Yolim Yahudam Yirai Shemaim. So the Hasidic Shlum says, it's a very simple shot. First, you got to be a mensch. Then you can start worrying about Yirai Shemaim. There are 2 things that a person needs to learn to connect with us. First of all, he needs to learn to connect with himself. Then he can learn to connect with others. Now, at a time, in usual and regular times, as we call it, you would tell the person, go to therapy, get connected to yourself, and then you go to therapy to learn how to connect with your spouse and with other people. But in a time like this, where there isn't basically time to do it because you're stuck at home with your spouse, what would you recommend for a person to do? And especially when we live in times where peer pressure takes a very big toll on a lot of people's lives.
Very nice question. I appreciate the question. First of all, by the way, Zoom sessions, I'm working more now than I've ever worked in my entire career because of what you just said. And no one's come to my office yet. I'm on Zoom and Skype every single day, all over the world, probably every continent. I'm working with people exactly from that. And it's heartwarming. I must tell you, it's mind-boggling, heartwarming, the number of new people who've noticed exactly what you've noticed, and they're reaching out and trying to get help. And I think all therapists everywhere are working today on Zoom. Even the insurance companies have officially acknowledged they'll pay for insurance, for medical insurance, for people, who want to go to therapy on Zoom and Skype. The world is changing, and changing for the better because of that. But here's what I want to say.
This program is the biggest change of the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's what drew me to it when I saw what you were doing. That's what drew me to want to get up at 4:45 this morning and be here with you all. No, I'm serious. I thought it was amazing. But I want to say this. You see, there are times in life for reflection and awareness. And there are times in life, v'yisu v'yachnu. The Chassidish here will all know the Chassidish Torahs of v'yisu v'yachnu. You journey and you camp. Journey and you camp. And the Sfarim HaKadoshim talk, we all know that. I'm sure all the Chassidish Eilam here are smiling right now because we all know what that means. There are times of v'yisu. There are times where you have to do. We have to work. You have to go. You have to fight. You have to deal with life. You have to go to therapy and work on yourself. And then there's v'yachnu. There's times where you have to sit tight and you have to hold on and become aware during those times of what the avodah is you're going to do again in the v'yisu when you go back to that. This is life, all of our lives. We're coming up to those parshas now in Bamidbar. And we have to realize this is a time of Yachnu. This is a time when we stay home, where we have to commit ourselves to becoming aware. We have to be curious about ourselves and become self-aware, to notice and acknowledge and realize the things that we really have to do. That when this parsha of V'yachnu is over and we're going to go back to V'yisu, where am I going to go? What am I going to do with all this? What am I going to do with my life? Am I going to move in a better direction, in a different direction? That's the V'yisu. Now's the time to become aware of that, to take note of that, to acknowledge what needs to be fixed, to be self-aware and humble about what I know I need to do with me, about, as I said at the beginning of the program, about my own blitus.
All right, I'm going to try to move it up because there's a few people that want to ask questions.
I want to add one more thing.
Coach Menachem.
I just want to add one more practical thing. What you should do is take a few minutes off, find a quiet place, and start journaling. Like Rabbi Russell said, now you're becoming self-aware, and eventually when we get back, you can get very fast back into the routine and things are okay, and you look away of everything. But if you can find a few minutes for yourself, sit down with a pen and paper and start journaling, write down exactly what's going through your mind and put it away. So that when you get to the therapist's office, you don't have to sit there for a while and figure out why did you come. You'll save yourself a lot of sessions. You can go straight to the topic.
All right, let's go. I'm sorry, we're going in hyper mode now. You ready?
Yeah, in 5 minutes, I'm going to have to go. I'm so sorry.
We still need closing. Okay. Shmuley, what's your question?
Thank you. Thank you for the time. You mentioned quite a few times, and you started your segment of how important therapy is. And I agree with you 100% that therapy is extremely important, having gone through a trauma myself. But unfortunately in the world, there is a stigma. Going to therapy, you're a Rachmanus. You might be a Neb, there's something wrong with you. How can we make it aware to the people and to yourself that, hey, there is nothing wrong in accepting help and wanting to accept the help by going and finding the right therapist for you for any problem that you have. We all have problems that we have that we need help with. Could we make it aware to ourselves that, hey, go for help and apply the help as much as you can? And don't worry about the stigma in the world that you're a nebuch. You're not. The opposite, you're healthy by finding help.
Adarabba. Yeah, first of all, kol hakavod, I love what you said. You answered the question yourself. You don't need me to add to it. You just answered it. Healthy people, but I always say it's the healthy people who go to therapy. It's the ones who are healthy enough to realize I need help. They're the ones who go, just like tonight. Who's on this program? The 600 people who tuned in. Look at the way you answered the questions. This is a great group of people here. Of course, it's the healthy, courageous people. I look at my clients, I stand up for them. These are the courageous people of life. They're absolutely awesome. That they're willing to do what we're here in this world to do. What do you think we're here for? Well, anyone's perfect? If you're perfect, you'll end up there. The rest of us are down here, because that's what we're here for. When I started out, I went to Mordechai Schwab, Zeichet Tzadik Kodesh L'Bracha, Mashkiach Hamonsi, the last stop before I opened my doors, after I graduated and began 32 years ago. The last stop, my wife and I went to Monsey to meet with Mordechai Schwab, the Mashkiach of America, to discuss with him, crazy. It was a crazy thing, but I still wasn't sure if I was right to go into the profession. Maybe I should be a Mashkiach, a Rebbe. I was in BMG at the time. I went to Mordechai, and he said to me something amazing. He said to me, therapy, psychotherapy, this is Avodas HaKodesh. He said, your clients, this is Avodas HaKodesh, that they're coming into therapy, is Avodas HaKodesh. And then he said to me this. He said he feels that the tekufa of mashkichim, being able to work with individuals in this world, to work with them on their pnimius, on their midas, he said he feels that is over. That's what he told me. He feels mashkichim was sort of set policy, hashkafa, chizuk for Klal Yisrael. There are just too many people, they won't have time. He said individual Bnei Torah therapists in our world are going to start working in that role to help people with their pneumias, with their avodah, their midas, and their personality, and their character, and their traumas, to free them to live a life. That's the avodah of therapy. His words to me, Rav Shach's words to me, was this is avodas hakodesh. It's avodas hakodesh. And it really is. And I think we should all realize that anyone who's going and willing to humble themselves, to go and sit with someone else, to look at yourself and evaluate, is there anything more important you could do in this world? In this world, I don't think there's anything more important.
Menachem?
That's it. Beautiful.
I want a last statement. Can I make one last statement, then I got to go?
We'll go into closing now. We'll go into the closing.
This is my closing statement. It's one line, very simple. It's just
Closing, but okay.
What do you want from me for closing? I've said what I've said, but I want to make one thing.
I want you to say what you said again about the love. That's the side of the whole tonight.
So let me read it. Let me tell you just once again that line, and then I want to finish with something profound. I said, love is the emotion, experience, or feeling that occurs when on a consistent basis, husband and wife are able to put the other's needs before my own needs when the two sets of needs are in conflict. That's where love happens. You want love in your life, you exploit the opportunities when you're not getting along to create love. That's where you create love. And that's real and lifelong and tangible. And believe me, 1,000 million times more powerful and attractive to your neshama than physical looks could ever be. Physical looks fade. We all get older. We all get wrinkled. What draws us to each other is the love we've created by dveikus neshamas. And dveikus neshamas comes through this ability to put the other's needs before my own needs. Doesn't mean I don't express it. I want to be clear. I say it. I don't have to shut up and keep swallowing and swallowing and swallowing. That's not a healthy relationship. I do express what I want, but I make it very clear, honey, I'm happy to do it your way. I just want you to know who I am, how I feel. Because most times she's going to want to meet my needs because that makes her feel good. But on those times where you can't, it doesn't work for you, I'm happy to do it your way. I have no problem at all. It's my pleasure. That's what creates love. And I want to finish with one line. You know, we make mistakes, all of us. You know, there's no one. The biggest thing we have to do when we do this work with each other of trying to create love means I'm going to have to apologize for hurting you. This self-awareness we're talking about, this journaling Rabbi Menachem mentioned, is my awareness of my blitas, and it's my awareness of how I've hurt my wife and maybe hurt my kids. It's that awareness that's so painful that I don't want to face. I want to finish with this line, and then I really have to go. Apologizing doesn't mean you were wrong and the other person was right. It simply means that you value your relationship more than you value your ego. If we could all just absorb that. Apologizing doesn't mean I agree that you're 100% right and I'm 100% wrong. What it means is I value our relationship more than I value my ego. If I can get myself to that place where I realize that's my work in this world, that's why I'm here. Through that, you develop unbelievable love. And with that love, you get dveikus neshamas, and you get the happiness you're looking for, and you actually realize, I don't need all those things. I don't need to be going out shopping and buying new stuff and another toy, another technology little thing that makes me happy for about 10 minutes. I don't need stuff. Yeah, I don't need stuff. I don't need stuff. The stuff of life is right there in front of me. If I'll invest in the stuff of life, in my wife, in my husband, if I'll invest in my children, if I'll invest in my relationships, then my happiness is right there. It isn't anywhere else. It's nowhere else to be found. And it's right there in front of your face. This time of this isolation, to me, I'm very emotional about it. It's brought us all an opportunity, and we should take advantage of this opportunity. The good things of life, we've been forced to face them. They're right there in front of us. Let's just work on getting rid of my own ego so that I can connect in a deeper, meaningful way. That's really that's what we have to. Thank you very much. Rabush, I have to go. Forgive me. Hatzlacha to everyone. Enjoy the bidud. Yes.
Thank you very much for coming. Rabbi Russell, thank you for all the extra time. I want to give everybody a bracha, hatzlacha, and Rabbi Russell, you should be gebenched.
My pleasure.
You want to say something quickly?
Thank you, Rabbi Russell, for coming. And I think the questions over here we have overloaded. We might have to see you again. And shkoyach for the whole oilam, the courageous oilam that is here tonight. And Hashem shall help. We shall all grow from this matziv. And if you're in pain, just be with it for now. And amidst Hashem, soon things will get better.
One more minute. So I want to again give a special thanks to our corporate sponsor tonight, Total Plan Concepts, my good friend, Avi Weiss, Leil Nishmas, his mother-in-law, just finished his first yard site. Her name is Gital Hadas Bas Shraga Faiba Levi, the Vici, on Neshama. Zicha had a big aliyah from tonight from helping so many, probably over 1,000 people here tonight total, if not more. And Leil Nishmas, Rabbi Russell's mother, Neshama should have a aliyah from tonight.
Thank you.
And I just want to tell everybody next week we have an amazing program. Dr. Wickel will be here next week. We are continuing this every Sunday night, and I hope that everyone's in mechazik. And bottom line, let's get real, Menachem. Rabbi Russell, anything else to say?
That's it. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.